Sanjay, welcome to the Commerce Talks podcast. Today it's going to be a spicy podcast. We talk about Spice Kitchen, the spice market, the hype around spice business models in Europe. Before we are diving into that market and the numbers, please tell the listeners who are you and what actually is Spice Kitchen.
Sure. So Spice Kitchen, we're based in Liverpool in the UK. So we're a British business. We're a spice company and we started 10 years ago, actually. So the business started as a little retirement hobby for my mum. And what started as a very small idea and something that I thought would keep her busy for a few hours a week has turned into something a little bit bigger. We're spice manufacturers, so we import spices and we blend them and make our own spice blends, which is kind of what we're known for. And we've also created our own gift sets of spices. I think that's kind of our niche, really, or historically has been our niche. And within the gift sets, we specialize in Indian spice tins. So these kind of stainless steel round spice tins with 7 kind of smaller pots inside. And we've created collections of spices. So all your Indian for Indian cuisine, Middle Eastern. We've even got one for like gin botanicals. So we've got different collections. And then my mum cuts up silk sari fabric and hand makes these beautiful gift wraps for the boxes. So we've turned it into kind of a really handmade, sought after foodie gift. And our business operates online as well as through reselling wholesale to various retailers in the UK and internationally.
Nice. And why did your mom start the business like 10 years ago? Was there already a demand? Was she selling spices on a market square somewhere? Where does it come from?
So the business started actually as a retirement hobby idea for her. So it started actually on Christmas Day 2012. My mum had been retired for probably 5-6 years at this point and was a bit bored. She'd done a lot of traveling and was raising grandkids and stuff. But she was looking for something to do. She was actually born in Kenya, raised in India, and has been in the UK for kind of like 50 years. So she's an amazing cook and really, really good. We do actually own a 100-year-old spice grinder that's kind of been in our family for so long. And my mum's had it for inherited it kind of 50 years ago.
Well, what is that? A spice grinder?
Yeah, it's like it was a British made manual kind of cast iron spice mill. It's actually sitting here a few meters away from me. But yeah, it's kind of a relic really of times gone by. I think probably originally it was meant for coffee, if I'm honest. But as I say, it's travelled around the British Empire with my family. And so it's Christmas Day 2012. I came up with this idea for my mum that she could sell like an Indian spice tin with all of her homemade blends in it. And everyone thought it was a bit of a silly idea. So I took a picture of my mum's tin and put a listing on eBay on Christmas Day. And we woke up on Boxing Day the day after and somebody had bought one. So the rest, as they say, is history. But yeah, it started as a really, really small idea, and then we operated in a very kind of small way for a few years online. But then I don't know what happened. There was a bit of a tipping point, and suddenly we started scaling. So.
And can you tell us a bit how the consumer usually bought spices before the consumer knew about Spice Kitchen? Because if I remember the time before the booming spice startups in Germany, it was kind of a very boring market. And you bought spices in the supermarket. The packaging was underwhelming, I would say. The range of spices was, everything was what would fit like in this 1 meter shelf environment. That it was a spice section, and now it becomes kind of a lifestyle thing. So the spice shelf is growing. There's more spice choice. The packaging is much better. So how was the spice buying situation in the UK supermarket in 10 years ago?
Well, that's a really, really good question, actually. I mean, generally, spices actually it's a very well-developed market in the US. You tend to find spice is developed, especially where they've got good weather because of barbecuing as well. So the US is way further ahead of the UK. They not only have spice blends for cooking, but they've got a massive range of barbecue type products with amazing packaging, lots and lots of options from the supermarket all the way down to your kind of high street deli. Even though we've been going 10 years, I would say the market is still quite stagnated in terms of the UK. You still have the supermarkets dominating to a certain extent. A lot of them have got their own range of kind of spice blends, and it's fairly basic stuff. Like it's still very basic, as you're saying, packaging on a shelf. There's been a little bit of innovation in the market, but I would say it's not really been developed, and that's a good thing because we still see it as an opportunity for us to really disrupt this market. We've never, though, for the last 10 years, ever wanted to disrupt it in the supermarkets because they're quite, there's a lot of risk there, but also they are quite keen on kind of actually building their own ranges. Where we've always sort of tried to differentiate is we want customers to come shop online with us. The key thing I would say about spices, though, is a lot of the stuff that's made out there has been sitting in a factory or a warehouse somewhere for a long time, even if it reaches the shelf, because spices have a long shelf life. So a factory in India could be making a Indian spice blend, but it might be sitting there for a year, way before it gets packaged and hits the UK. So the quality out there is really poor still, I would say, and it's very mixed as well. So you could go into a supermarket, you could buy that garam masala one day and it could be really fresh, and then you could buy it 2 weeks later and it's pretty poor, but there's no consistency. What we do is we get really good, the best quality raw spices that we can in, we hand blend them, and we make them really fresh. So we process them fresh, we sell them fresh, everything's small batch. And I would say that's still the difference from the quality side of it. From the packaging side, as you say, it's still, there's nothing really that amazing being done in the UK. There was a company called Bart's based down in Bristol, but they sold to a big, I think it was a big German conglomeration as well. And they have quite good quality spices in some of the supermarkets. But other than that, I would still say it's not great. There's a lot more that can be done, and hopefully we're doing something in the space which is more interesting.
So you say you're focusing on direct consumer business. You're not in the wholesale business. So there's no Spice Kitchen merchandise in UK supermarkets available. Is this correct?
Not supermarkets, no. We've really focused on the independents. So our products are in maybe 300 to 400, 500 independent stores. We are in Lakeland, Tin, which is a cook shop here, which is really big. And we're in lots of garden centres and farm shops, delis, but all independent. So we always said to ourselves that we would stay away from the supermarkets and focus on the independents only. We have got our products into Waitrose in Dubai, in the Middle East. And we've just again secured this week a distributor in Belgium to distribute our products to again the deli independent market, not supermarkets. But no, we've kind of stayed clear of the big guys.
And why do you think was it possible to create a business in that niche? Because usually what we've seen in all over Europe there in the last like 10, 15 years, there was more focus on like regional products, which is hard to do with spices. Obviously, you need to import a lot of the raw materials, but a better product, higher product quality. So I would have assumed that the big spice manufacturers, the importing companies, would have developed high quality lines, or let's say where the standard spice is 3 times the price compared to the supermarket spice. But you say that wasn't the case. So you're really like new in the niche. So where is the demand coming from then actually? So why did it kick off with your mom's initial retirement business?
I guess it's an interesting question, really. I mean, our business has only ever responded to demand. Like, we've never gone after those big guys. We've done some trade shows in the last 4 or 5 years, but for the first 5 years, we only grew organically, and it was completely down to word of mouth. And as soon as we manufactured our blends and people started buying them, they were like, oh my God, this is like, we've never tasted anything like this. We've never smelt anything like this. And a lot of our customers said, as soon as Spice Kitchen even gets posted through the letterbox and they were upstairs, they could literally smell spices on their doorstep, in the packaging, in the bag, which is quite true. So there was clearly a difference in terms of the smell. And then obviously in terms of the taste, it's a lot more kind of potent is the best word to use. So we only ever grew because people loved the quality of what we did, and those who care about their quality of their ingredients, some people probably, I guess, are appealing to more of a experienced cook, possibly. Like, we'll never buy spices from anywhere else again. So we were definitely appealing to a more of a customer who cares about the quality of products that go into their food. But as I say, for the first 3 or 4 years, we only ever responded to demand, and our business just grew really through word of mouth. And obviously, we sold on platforms like eBay, and we had repeat customers coming to buy them regularly from there. And then customers said, "Oh, why don't you build your own website? And can we pick and mix from your range of spices?" So we kind of responded, and then we did stuff as our customers told us to do stuff. I guess things did change. I mean, we were approached by a supermarket back in 2014 and we weren't retail ready. We had no barcodes, no packaging, nothing. And so, as sad as it was, we got really, really excited and realized we weren't retail ready at all. And we didn't even have any food safety at the time in terms of, we didn't have our own premises or anything. So, we realized there was a lot of boxes that we couldn't tick in order to supply them. But we kind of knew then that actually there was a demand from retailers who wanted our products, certainly the gift sets anyway. And so we started to do a lot of those food gifting shows as opposed to the food shows. And that's why a lot of our products are actually sitting within gift shops and the cook shops. We're probably been slightly less focused on, again, supermarkets and the kind of delis. A lot of our businesses sit as gifts, and a lot of them sell in the last few months of the year.
How big is your business today when you're talking like revenues, number of people working for your business?
There's 15 people. So yeah, there's 15 of us, and we're growing pretty quick. So we've tripled in size in the last 3 years, and we're certainly growing every year. COVID, the whole situation's been tough from a structural operational perspective. We've got a couple of staff off with COVID at the moment, actually, but from a growth perspective, it's really helped us to grow, especially because everyone was furloughed. Lots of people have been at home, and actually a lot of our kind of more rare spices that people don't buy all the time, people were dusting off cookbooks and suddenly wanting to cook with more kind of weird and wonderful spices. So we've really, really seen a lot of those customers come back and shop all at the same time with us, and that's really allowed us to grow, like a lot of other food businesses in the last 2 years who are selling online.
How many manufacturers do you need for running your business? Because I guess there's like different regions in the world where you need to buy the raw materials. So how many manufacturers are you working with today?
So we're working with, well, we buy through UK big spice houses. We've probably got 6 or 7 different importers that we work with. Um, yeah, there's quite a lot of good quality spices coming into the UK. The challenge really is all about sourcing and making sure you've got the best quality. So sometimes we'll buy, say, example, cumin from a supplier, and he'll have worked with a farmer which we obviously don't have any connection with, and it's a really good crop. And then come the next year, we've got the same supply, same company, and their quality is quite poor. And again, that might be down to lots of global factors and which farm they're buying from. So we do chase the quality around the different suppliers, and we know as long as we get the best quality raw spices in, we can make the best quality spice blends at the end of the day. So we're looking for freshness and quality and all of those things. So color and taste. So
Are there based because of COVID or now the Ukrainian war any supply chain issues in the spice industry?
luckily, not so much that we've experienced. Actually, I was expecting there to be problems with supply chain with spices, but there really, really isn't. The main thing is cost. I mean, costs have gone up of everything, and that's down to Brexit and COVID and all those factors, global shortage of everything. The big hit is really on shipping. We manufacture our Indian spice tins in India, and shipping costs have gone from like 1,500 dollars to for a container to kind of nearly $10,000. So plus obviously fuel now is going up quite a lot, which it is we don't have like major drivers or major vehicles internally, but obviously everybody we work with does. So so the costs have gone up because of fuel, but hopefully that's a temporary thing.
Can you tell us a bit more about like your existing customer strategy? So right now, if I'm visiting the Spice Kitchen UK.com shop, I see like a lot of reviews on Trustpilot. So it feels like it's more than word of mouth now. Maybe there's even some online marketing spendings behind it, or TV commercials that are driving the customers to your online shop.
Yeah, no, our business is a bit different now. So with marketing, it's a tough one because there's a lot of things you can do, but we focus on a few things. I guess we've doubled down on the stuff that works and scrapped the stuff that doesn't. Obviously, we've got a good website. Was built on Shopify, so we've got a really good website, and actually that's just been relaunched in the coming weeks. I've been working on a new site for the best part of a year. Um, we do a bit of social media, so we try to share our brand story on social. That's the key thing, really. That's more for brand awareness rather than driving sales, and also keeping our customers in tune with what's going on and all the new developments. We're very, very strong on PR. So I've got friends who are journalists, and they told us from the start that we should get our story down, and journalists will be really interested in our story, especially being a mum and son team and talking about retirement and small business sort of expanding. So that's always worked really, really well for us, and we've been featured in lots and lots of websites, and we've even got onto BBC, a cooking show called The Hairy Bikers, and places like that. So that's been really, really exciting, and led to lots of opportunities. Um, we have done some advertising in the past on Facebook, on social, but it didn't really work with a lot of the changes that have happened with iOS and tracking. But we do work with Google Ads because we've got quite a niche product, and we want somebody to be searching for Indian spice boxes or certain keywords within our business to find us. So we do have a bit of a spend on Google Ads. Um, and then, yeah, making sure we've just got a really good user-friendly website. Customer service is key for us. So any mistakes, any problems, we try and sort them out straight away. And our key KPI is those Trustpilot reviews. We probably gathered, as I say, 2,500 positive reviews in the best part of, I don't know, a year and a half. So we really strive to deliver on the customer service side because we're all about acquiring customers but actually keeping them. So we try and really give the best customer experience, so when somebody opens our products, they love how well packaged it is, how perfect it is. We do handwritten cards in every single order. We do sometimes do discounts for repeat purchases. So we really try and have a really good customer focus, and as I say, that's an extension of the kind of word of mouth marketing that we've always done. And yeah, we've just actually secured and managed to convince a big publisher to give us a publishing deal. So 6 years ago we were thinking about this, and then maybe a 2 years seriously. But yeah, a very big cookbook publisher in the UK has decided to give us a contract. So we are starting that journey. Got a few months to write that and work on recipes, and we'll have copies in our hands hopefully in a year's time. Exactly.
So the spice businesses I saw in Europe really grew because of their wholesale operations, because it's easy to get to new customers because the packaging is very different, and with a smart influencer strategy in Germany, one company called Ankerkraut did it via the German version of Shark Tank. That's actually how customers could get the product, which is way easier in your case. So have you ever thought about the wholesale strategy?
Yeah, we've definitely considered it in the past. I think a couple of things. One, we grew the business really. We wanted to keep 100% share of it, right? So we were never looking to kind of be a company which seeks investment and runs at a loss, because we wanted to reinvest the profits in the business and grow in a more organic way. Sometimes that's maybe difficult if you're going to go scale up very fast. And with that becomes risk, right? So if you're going to go down that route, there's always a risk. So, we were doing the business from a love for spice and love for what we do. We didn't want to bring in risks that could potentially mean we're at play of going with a big supermarket and they drop you tomorrow and then you're out of business. So that was never our business model. The other thing was space, right? We worked from home for a number of years. We had a small unit for 3 years till last April, and we could only do so much in there. We were already at capacity, certainly when it came to our Christmas season, where we were extremely busy with the business. But now we have moved into a bigger space really last year, which is 4 or 5 times as big. We were able to buy the unit, so we're out of the renting cycle. And yeah, we can do a lot more here. But again, looking at kind of where we currently are, there's so many opportunities where we've got a lot of retailers contacting us, wanting to list our products, and there's a lot of different kind of things we're growing on. And certainly with the cookbook next year, that's going to give us more of a global brand name. So yeah, there's lots of opportunities always, and I think we will always be considering going down the supermarket route, but we'll probably still only do it when it's less of a risk for us, and we've got and we're weighing up that risk reward type thing. I think also because our reputation is all based around quality, and we don't want our spices sitting on a shelf for a particularly long period of time, we found it's very difficult to do with the supermarkets. They want very, very shelf life, but they want quite long lead times to sell the product. So we don't want a customer to have picked up our product off a shelf where it's been sitting there for 6 months, because we go against everything we ever stood for. So you've got to be quite careful about that. So I guess it depends on what you want from your business, how much risk you're willing to take, how much investment you think you want, and if you're looking to exit as well. A lot of these companies are looking to grow, scale fast. If it works, fine. If it doesn't, they go out of business. But if it does work, they've got a big sale and they move on and do something else. So I guess it depends on what your strategy is.
Is it possible for me, like as a German resident, to buy your products because of Brexit issues?
No, it's no problem at all, actually. You can buy them online. It's very cheap to buy the spices, for example, and it'll cost you a few euros shipping. So, no, there's no issues at all, actually.
Oh, okay, I will try that out. What about the other channels? You mentioned eBay already. Can I find Spice Kitchen merchandise on Amazon?
Very much so, yeah. No, Amazon's always been a part of our business. It's a great acquisition tool for us. It's a great platform to sell on, actually. I mean, it's in a way, it's another Google. They've obviously, get linked directly from Google search and Google Shopping, but it's a big entity in itself that you can't avoid. So yeah, we very much sell on Amazon as well, directly. We actually sell across a number of other platforms, from gifting marketplaces like Not on the High Street to international marketplaces like Etsy, with a lot of European and US customers shop. So that makes it easier. And then some of the niche kind of food or kind of gifting marketplaces in the UK. So yeah, as long as it kind of meets our brand guidelines, we do list on a number of platforms. But that in turn drives a lot of repeat custom back to our own website.
And from the 15 people working for Spice Kitchen, how many people are focusing on this kind of digital user experience? Your own online shop, Amazon, eBay, Etsy. So online marketing? How many people are doing this?
Possibly none of those, actually. A lot of the Amazon, we've got an Amazon consultant, we've got an external digital guy who does Google and SEO. One of my team is head of communications, so she's a comms person, so she's really a content writer, so she handles the PR side, listings, and working on content for SEO and for Google. But actually the technical stuff is all done externally by freelancers.
When you're looking at your first customer cohorts, you said you started like 10 years ago. How stable are they? How loyal are the customers in terms of like repeat buying behavior? Because you said you're really like on the freshness side. So for a customer, it doesn't make sense to buy all the spices like for the next 5 years. So he needs to come back to you if he really wants to have this kind of fresh experience. So how does it work? Are the customers really loyal? Are they coming back, or have you the task to find a lot of new customers in your business?
We've definitely got a lot of loyal customers, and we saw that actually 2 years ago as soon as COVID came. Firstly, as I say, we specialize in making small batch spices. A lot of our spices are sold in small 20-gram bags, and so 20 grams, people think that's quite not very much, but again, with the quality that we have, it does last them a while. But we're trying to say buy them fresh, use them fresh, and then restock. So it's free delivery over £10. So somebody buys 6 little bags of spices, it's free delivery. So we're saying, yeah, buy little, fresh, and often. Don't buy big bags, a kilo, which are already not fresh, and then they're going to sit in your cupboard 4 or 5 years. You might be quite, keen to use those spices just because they're not going to harm you, with spices being dry and not really kind of they're best before, not kind of used by dates. So but there's no quality left in them, there's no flavor left in your food. So yeah, we've definitely got a lot of loyal customers, and actually we didn't even know how loyal a base we had. But the start of the first lockdown here in the UK, which is kind of 2 years ago, um, we actually furloughed some of the staff. So some of the staff, we said, look, there's not going to be any work for you now, so go home. And then within 2-3 weeks, we called them all back in, because suddenly everybody was being furloughed from home, people working from home here in the UK, and lots of people were then home cooking again, a lot more, and lots of our loyal customers were buying from us. And so we saw this massive surge of loyalty, with customers buying from us, and all at the same time. Because what I would say is that our loyal customers buy as often as they want throughout the year. So it's quite spread. Whereas we found this sudden surge, which we wouldn't have ever really seen before, where everybody was in the same situation at the same time, thinking, wow, okay, this is a time for me to focus on home cooking. And those who knew us were certainly there. Some customers, obviously a lot of customers, were then seeking out good suppliers, were thinking about all the products they buy. And with people not wanting to go visit supermarkets as well, they were looking for online options, so they were less at risk of catching COVID. So yeah, we've definitely seen that loyalty, and I would say it's been an amazing thing. We obviously do acquire a lot of new customers, as I say, through word of mouth, people searching for top gift sets, searching for specific spices or spice blends. But loyalty is really, really important for us. And I think there's maybe even a shift generally between acquiring new customers, and now with all the changes that are happening with iOS and everything, people are like, oh, actually, it's as important to focus on your own customer base. we've always been there. We've always been doing that. Acquiring customers has been important, but never at the expense of servicing the people we already know.
What is your growth strategy in the next like 2 to 3 years? More spices, more sales channels, more focus on new customer acquisition?
Yeah, it's a mix, really. I would say the first thing is now we're here in this unit, we are definitely moving away from being we're repositioning ourselves. We're being away from just a gifting brand to certainly being more of this lifestyle brand. We are focusing very much on our spice blends as our kind of key USP. And the cookbook that's coming out next year, we're actually going to give away all our recipes, believe it or not, for our spice blends, which seems a bit crazy. But the book's really about how to cook with spices. And if you've got, I don't know, a Ras El Hanout from Morocco you bought once and it's sitting in the back of your cupboard to make a tagine, it's going to teach you how to adventurously and creatively use that spice blend. So and encourage people to be more adventurous. So we are launching all of our blends in single tins, which the supermarkets may want, but again we'll mainly be focusing on the independents with those products. We've actually just got license for alcohol to produce our own alcohol, because we already sell a lot of gin, botanicals, and so it was a natural fit for us to actually launch our own range of gins, which we're working on at the moment. International is big for us, so we already expanded into Ireland and the Middle East. We've just come back from Belgium and secured a distributor there, but there's a big demand for our products in Germany, Holland, Belgium, and Scandinavia. So we're looking at going into those markets through international trade shows, and by working and finding the right distributor to represent us. And I think we're really building now towards this cookbook. So we've got to spend a lot of time and resources writing the book, making sure it's amazing for, what we know our customers want and new people want. And then we've got a year's worth of work to do to get that, and marketing and stuff around the book. But also another thing, we're always considering new sales channels. We're always looking at new retailers, smaller and bigger retailers in the UK. And we do a lot of trade shows to try and secure those. And as I say, we're going to have a new website launching in the coming weeks, hopefully. So that's going to be a lot more user friendly.
And have you been experimenting with pop-up stores? Because that's something where I would say this kind of the smell of spices, the taste, you can really use to draw new customers to your business. Obviously, a very resource heavy channel, but I could guess like in Liverpool or in London, staying on a market and saying here you can taste different like fresh spices would help you to find new customers.
Definitely. Yeah, no, I built the business doing a small market in Manchester, actually, kind of going back to the kind of mid 2014, 2015, early days. So yeah, it definitely works. We did a pop-up with John Lewis last year in Liverpool, which was really successful, and actually they potentially are looking to list our products. We do a lot of consumer events around Christmas time, or a few consumer events where it's amazing. We've got to gain lots of loyalty and repeat customers, but again, we've always been very gift focused, so we only do those at the end of the year. But yeah, it's definitely a consideration for us to kind of meet more customers face to face, be that on market stalls or pop-ups or wherever it's relevant.
What do you think? How big can the business grow in the next 10 years?
Sure. So, I mean, the business, I guess, can grow as big as we want it to, but I guess it's as big as we want it to. So we as I said, we moved into a new place. I know we can do at least 3 or 4 times our capacity, for just because of the space that we have. So we are looking to fill that capacity, obviously. It comes down to how many people we want to manage internally as well. So there's 15 of us already, which is a great number. I think we could fit maybe double the amount of staff in this unit, and it will be a very comfortable number to manage. So yeah, I guess it depends on lots of factors, really. We will see which opportunities we decide to take and which we don't. But I certainly see us kind of continue to grow on our trajectory that we have done for the next few years. Certainly for the next 3, 4, 5 years, and after that, I've no idea really. I find it hard to think about where we'd be in 10 years, really, because I can never have predicted that we would be where we are today 10 years ago. So.
What would you recommend for the listeners who really want to try out the Spice Kitchen Spice? What kind of initial package should they buy to really get the first best possible experience?
That's a good one. Yeah. So we've got different collections, obviously, on the website. One of our key ones is the world spices, because that actually represents all of our spice blends, which I mentioned we're known for. So within that set, you've got Indian blends, you've got, Moroccan Ras El Hanout jerk, Mexican, Chinese, and other Middle Eastern kind of more rare ones like za'atar and harissa. That's a really, really good one. All our collections actually come with a recipe guide already, so there'll be some inspiration in there for you to learn how to cook. And the world one is really good because it's great for vegetarians as well, because it's great for flavoring, from your pulses through to your vegetables and anything else. So yeah, it's great for vegetarians, and they all double up as meat rubs as well. So yeah, maybe the world set is good, and either as a letterbox, if you're certainly in Europe, it's really cheap to receive that, or if you're feeling a bit more kind of adventurous, then we have got the spice box to store it in as well. So
nice. So definitely, I will try it out. I will order now a spice from your collection. I will compare it to the standard spices I can get in the supermarket here in Germany. Sanjay, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.